Hey guys, and welcome to another video. I asked you guys if there was anything you wanted to see me edit in a kind of editing tutorial video, and most of the photos that you suggested were portraits. So I thought today I would take two of the photos that I took in Rwanda, and I would just edit both kind of quickly just to show you the kind of things I do. I think it's probably important to note lighting, like natural lighting, is probably the single biggest factor when it comes to getting a great image from the start. If we take this first image, one of my favorite photos I've taken, it's of one of the lady coffee farmers out in Kabongo. And I think it is so striking because we have this dark background where the inside of the producing kind of factory area was all very dark, and then I made her sit on a step where she was in the light and the background was already very dark. So we had this kind of natural lighting setup already. Same as with this photo of Philip in the forest. It was very early morning, there was kind of a golden light and the light was coming through the forest. So I kind of set the photos up already before I even got to the edit. So I think that's the most important thing to remember. Okay, let's just do this. So let's look at this first. I think first things first, just change the aspect ratio. I use 8.5 by 11 when I'm resizing for Instagram. It just gives a little bit of room for error when I'm in the app. So I just want to make sure her face is very centered in this image. Kind of aim for her head or her face to be in the kind of in between the top and the middle third. So around that line. The first thing I always do when editing a photo is I go straight to the tone curve. Now, lifting the blacks is probably the easiest starting point for me. I'll then just drag them round and create a rough S shape. This will really bring out the highlights but also fade the blacks. I think that is kind of what I'm going for. Already that tone curve has made such a difference. I'm then going to just take out some of this saturation. I tend to desaturate my images, warm the tones, and fade the blacks. I think that is probably, I hate the term, if I was gonna have a preset, it would probably be something like that, but I don't do presets because they're pointless and they don't work. So yeah, I guess now I can start to look at these basic kind of editing tools. I'm gonna just slightly increase the oranges and the tint as well. I don't need any change to the exposure or contrast. I think that was spot on when I took the photo. I'll take the highlights down, which means I should probably bring the whites up. I think if you're going to take one down, you kind of have to compensate with the other one. That's about right. And again, let's bring the shadows up. I want to be able to see those coffee bags in the background, so I think that's probably about right. I can even bring these blacks up a tiny bit. Cool, I think that looks nice. Let's again take some of this vibrance out. Clarity up a tiny bit. That's getting there. Definitely getting there. Okay, so now I'll come down to the saturation of the colors. I think it's important when you're looking at colors just to really look at the image and see what part of the image you're changing when adjusting the saturation of each individual color. So with these reds, you can see that it's going to have an impact on the jacket. So I want to make it still realistic, but just take some of that vibrance out. Oranges, I think I can tone those pretty far down as well. Yellows too. And these greens and blues, there's not really much going on in terms of green, blues and purples, but I think that looks a little better. It's looking a little bit too desaturated now, but I think that'll change when I change the luminance and the hue as well. Let's go to the hue. I don't really have to do much here. Maybe just change the greens of the hat a little bit. I think that's pretty much, I think that's spot on, to be honest. I don't think there's anything to really do there. And when it comes to luminance, just making sure that the whites in this weaved basket are not blown out. Bring out the color of that jacket a little bit. Bring out these purples. And then I'm going to come down. Normally I would definitely not use vignetting, but I think in this image it is going to really help because you do have a natural vignetting anyway. So I'm going to take this right down. Yeah, I like that a lot. And I'm going to add a bit of grain too. So now I just feel like it's almost there. I just want to try and bring these blacks a tiny bit darker. Something like that even. Like it's dramatic, but I really like it. It's probably not my classic edit, but I think that's really nice. Now, I'll just touch up her face. I want to make sure that the whites and the highlights are adjusted to bring out her facial features, a tiny bit of clarity and sharpness too. I want to make sure that her body is super sharp. There we go. It was the green that was strange. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that looks super nice. And I'm happy with that. I think that is a really, really nice edit. It's a little bit moody still. It has that warmth. Editing Rwandan photos, drinking my Rwandan coffee from Question Coffee. This is perfect. Cool. So let's head on to this image of Philip. I got him to sit in the forest. This photo, there's actually not a huge amount of work done to this photo. To be honest, this photo was more about just warming the tones up, bringing out the oranges, and creating a little bit of fake golden hour, because I think we were probably about an hour too late. As usual, go straight to the tone curve. I'm going to bring these blacks up, and I'm going to create a rough S shape. Nothing different to usual, to be honest. I think if I'm aiming for something around that, that's a nice kind of, nothing too crazy. Yep, let's go for that. So let's just take out these highlights because I don't want the trees to be totally blown out. And obviously it's looking a little bit dark right now. So let's just lift these shadows, lift the blacks too. And I'll probably just have to take down these whites. Let's add a little bit of clarity to the photo. And again, just desaturate it. Just take out the saturation of those colors. So now it's looking like a very flat. So now let's head on to the colors. I want to again just desaturate those reds. I think all of these colors will have some major desaturation going on, as you can see. Head on to the hues, and I think if the reds and oranges both have like an orangey tint, same as the yellows, this is when you can really see the kind of main transformation of the image. This is when you're really taking those greens out and you're replacing them with oranges. And that is usually done with the yellow and the green. Let's bring that around there. I think the rest of the colors are pretty much spot on. Yeah, I'm liking that already. Add a bit of grain. Temperature. We're going to bring in more oranges and reds, and I'm just going to bang up these whites and highlights. The reason for using the gradient tool to increase the highlights and the whites is just so that I have directional light. I want the light to look like it's coming from one direction, which is the direction of the sun. So let's just drag those up. And it's still looking just a little bit too kind of faded right now. So I might just have to bring that slightly further down. Bring those up a tiny bit. That's looking better. And then if we come down to the camera collaboration, I'm going to just focus on these red primaries because that's the main color that I'm going for here. And let's bring up the saturation of those. Same as the greens, I want the hues up on the greens, even the blues. And I think that's getting there. And I'm pretty happy with that. I think that is pretty much there. You can see I'll probably just quickly, same thing as the lady, I'm just gonna touch up his face with a bit of sharpness and a bit of highlights and white. No word of a lie, I will probably spend a whole day editing one of these photos. So obviously I've already edited it before, so I kind of know what I'm going for, but usually it is not this quick, so don't stress. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm happy with that. Cool. So that is the end of this tutorial. I hope this video helps. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. The Rwanda video will be coming either just before this video or just after. It is now being graded, and yeah, we've spent so much time on this video, so I really hope you guys like it. But the next few weeks, I'm going to be kind of traveling around the UK a little bit, but basically based in the UK. So yeah, some more exciting videos to come. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome week and go well.